The most popular understanding of centrifugal force is as a force which a body manifests upon itself when constrained to move in a curved path. In the science of dynamics, however, it is defined as fictitious because a body cannot manifest a force upon itself. Therefore, does not exist for an inertial or non-accelerated observer. The definition of a real force used here is one in which its production occurs in accordance with the conditions implied by Newton's third law of motion. As described by the most popular understanding, the centrifugal force does not fulfill these conditions. Why, then, is this understanding so popular? Let's discuss two possible reasons. First, we can feel it. One example is a person suspended from the rotating top of a swing ride. When rotating, he can notice the increase in the distance from the fixed center of rotation, with the increase in rotational speed. In the process, he can feel the action of an outward force, which arises spontaneously in his body, and the only possible force capable of explaining the increasing distance from the center of rotation. For him, this is the centrifugal force. The same feeling happens to passengers of a car moving in a highway curve. The second fact that supports this understanding of the centrifugal force as a real self-force is that the motion in the curve occurs in relation to a fixed center, or on a fixed base. In the case of the car, the cause of its motion in the curve is due to the friction of the wheels in contact with the fixed ground, the surface of the earth, which does not move. This is wrong. A very popular illustration of the centrifugal force is a body rotating around a fixed point connected by a cord. It is usually said that the tension of the cord provides a centripetal force, which causes the body to move in the curve. The body reacts and manifests a centrifugal force, apparently in accordance with Newton's third law. This is also wrong. Newton's third law cannot occur on a single body. What is usually forgotten in this popular understanding is that the center of rotation is attached to another body, considered fixed, which implies it has infinite inertia. The process can only be appropriately evaluated when the interaction of the two bodies with limited inertia is described by an inertial or non-accelerated observer, taking into account the three laws of motion. In this channel, this interaction process is being called inertial confrontation, because the inertial tendencies of the bodies to resist acceleration are in conflict. The inertial resistance of the central body, here the second body, to acceleration acts upon the moving body as a centripetal force, which is the cause of the first body to move in a curved path. The inertial resistance of the first body to move in a curve acts upon the central second body as a force, here being called centripetal resistance, causing its acceleration. The simultaneous accelerations are opposite, in accordance with Newton's third law. The here called centripetal resistance, the resistance of the first body to move in a curve, acting upon the second, central body, could also be called centrifugal force, because it acts upon the second body outwards in relation to the curved path of the first body. This has been avoided because the term centrifugal force is, for a long time, associated with a self-force the first body manifests upon itself and not on the second body. If this system of two interconnected bodies is free of constraints, after a certain time the bodies rotate in circular paths around the center of mass of the system. Since rigid bodies tend to move in straight paths, this process must fulfill the requirements of Newton's third law. Because the two bodies are being accelerated continuously, moving in circular motion, the two bodies are in inertial confrontation due to their conflicting tendencies to move in straight paths, in accordance with Newton's first law, but their tendencies are being mutually counteracted. This is Newton's third law for rotation, or rather, curvilinear motions.